dumbest facts. Recording, cool.
We're recording everywhere, and I got to remember the word debunking.
If you say debunkering,
and we're proving or debunking the dumbest facts you've ever heard.
That's it. Okay.
I love this shit. So it makes me laugh.
All right. Well, welcome to the Dumb AF podcast.
I'm Brett McCallum.
And I'm Sare.
And we are...
You overthought it. You overthought it. Oh, come on.
Jesus. Okay, start again.
What? This is going to stay in.
Oh, thanks. That's awesome. Well, actually, we're proving or debunking the dumbest facts you've ever heard.
Perfect. You nailed it. Second go.
Thanks very much.
First we chat, then we fact.
So if one of your friends says dumbest fact, and you can clap back.
Yes. You got
clap?
there. You got there.
I got there. What a dickhead. I didn't say debunkering.
Debunkering, yeah, thank God. Not like Jared did.
The previous apprentice host.
Yes.
Is that what we're calling them? Apprentice host or
sure.
trial host?
Trial guest host.
Guest host. So let's do that. That's fine. Yeah, previous guest host said debunkering. That's why he got sacked.
Yeah. Yes. So Jared and I are employed by yourself, Brett. And you said to me that Jared was shit.
He was. He was. 100%. He's a very nice human being. Don't get me wrong. But I said I could do a better job than him.
Right.
Well. So hence why we sacked him for this episode. And the fact that he's on his way to Vegas. So
that's right.
That was probably another reason. So I sort of said, I'll step in the hot seat and let's debunk some facts.
I know. Let's do it. Okay. So before we start, I thought it would be a good idea to find out more about you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. So I wanted to know, so we work under the Media 8 umbrella.
Yep.
What is Media 8?
Media 8's a group of companies that we've brought together that do everything that I like. So I made a conscious decision a few years ago to just do shit that I enjoy. Mm-hmm. So we own a basketball team in New Zealand. We own a podcast platform, which this is all done on Podfire. I've been hosting a podcast called Awesome Humans now for the last 3 years, which I love and enjoy. And we've got a media company, so we do a lot of digital marketing, advertising, all that sort of stuff. But it's really just for things I enjoy because that's all about me.
Yeah.
But no, what we do is we try and get the best people in their fields to actually come in and run companies for me. That's what I'm after.
Yeah, then that's why you hired me.
100%.
Because I'm the best.
You are the best.
At podcast. And now you can play golf.
And now I can play golf. Yeah, I told my wife I want to be a professional golfer. I'll never make it, but I have to practice enough to become it.
Good ploy.
I thought that was fair.
Good ploy. Was there a turning point for you, like when you decided to do Media 8? Like
50.
You turned 50.
I turned 50, and
wow.
then everyone has midlife crises. I didn't. I had a midlife. Woohoo! Let's go. And
a little bit of a crisis.
I did a little bit of a crisis, yeah. But now I'm on a mission to make it to at least 100. So I thought, why not just do shit you enjoy for the next 50 years?
And how are you tracking for 100?
I'm 52 now.
Okay.
Oh, tomorrow. Actually, I'm 52. So I've got at least 48 years to go. So yeah, we've got lots of work to do, and once again, we just want to have fun, enjoy ourselves, and bring the right people together that have fun together that actually then can make money. Because I have 3 loves in life. Do you know about my 3 loves in life?
No, tell me.
I told you this when we first met.
Oh.
My family. I have an amazing wife and 4 awesome kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love money.
Who doesn't?
And I love condiments.
Condiments.
I'm a massive condiment fan.
Like salt and pepper.
Yeah, I like all types of condiments. I love tomato relish.
Sauce.
All different sauces. I love the reason I love condiments is because it brings the meal together.
That's so random.
But they're my 3 loves.
Out of everything. I thought you were going to say golf or lawn or cars.
Massive condiment fan.
Condiments.
Yeah.
All right.
And the thing is, I've just lost a lot of weight. Obviously, I had some surgery and I had to lose some weight. So I lost 30 kilos and didn't have a condiment for 4 months.
What?
And in the last 3 weeks, I've eaten so much tomato relish. It's just been the best thing ever.
Is that your favourite condiment?
No, it's just I had access to it, so I ate it.
Well, what is your favourite condiment then?
I reckon tomato relish is, as long as it's got a little bit of chili in it now. My taste buds have changed, so I'm a very chili orientated now as opposed to sweet.
I love it. I'm more of a pickle relish kind of person.
I do like a good pickle relish.
Oh, who doesn't?
I like a pickly mustardy thing.
Yeah.
So hot dogs, are you tomato and mustard.
Yes.
And
I'm
mustard,
everything.
are you like just that yellow American style
Mild. Well, I'm one of those people who likes a little bit of sausage with their sauce, right?
Okay.
So I'm sauce
enough too.
crazy. Like,
Okay.
so I'm the same. I love condiments.
Tomato or barbecue?
Tomato.
Yeah.
If there's barbecue there, I'll put it on as well. I don't care.
Something
I'm crazy.
that needs to be done on this podcast.
What?
I learned the other day that the amount of barbecue sauce that I have, like the squirt,
Right.
is the exact same amount of sugar as a can of Coke.
Well, the 10 teaspoons of sugar.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I only learned that the other day. Like knowledge. But I'd love that to be debunked.
Yeah.
I said the same
You
word.
want it
Look
to
at
be
me in the
debunked.
word. Let's debunk that shit so we can eat more barbecue sauce.
I'm down. Yeah.
that fair?
Okay. That's fair. We'll look into that later.
You didn't think this was going to go this way.
No, I didn't. But like, I'm fascinated by it. That's what's so great about the Dumb AF podcast. You think that this is going to be bad, and then it turns out to be
thanks
really
very
good.
much. Love the faith. That's all about
This is
the
going to be
faith.
the worst
It's
episode.
It's very
ever
George
done.
Michael.
No, not at all. No, I'm very excited it's going this direction. This is where I want it to go. So you've got Media 8, but
Yes.
you own a few more companies as well.
We do. It's all part of the group. So the big thing is we've got Media 8 in New Zealand, which is the home of the Taranaki Airs, professional basketball team over there.
Yep.
We
And you
have-
own them?
We own them. Yep. We have Podfire.
Yes.
Which is obviously this platform. A couple of the sponsors of a lot of our podcasts now. We have Official Beer Company, which very excitingly is just about to go into India. So that's exciting stuff.
Cool.
We have Require Building, who's in this building where we are, and they look after house roofs and lots of that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
they're an amazing group of people that do really well in that space. And yeah, we own cards and collectibles.
You've got the cards as well.
Loving our cards.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's just all different random stuff that, once again, that I enjoy.
It is, yeah. It is super random, but it does have that kind of same
Haven't
theme.
got a condiment company. I want a condiment
You need
company.
the condiments.
Anyone out there, bring me a condiment company.
Absolutely. Well, it does have a little bit of a theme like running through it. It is quite blokey, like the businesses that you have. Like you're quite blokey and you're a big sports fan, right?
Yeah, I love my sport.
What's your favourite sport?
Oh, anything. I'll gamble on anything, whether it's two flies running up a wall or whether it's the AFL. I do love the AFL and I love the NRL.
Yeah.
I also love the NFL and the NBA. But I'm a Manly fan, a Manly Warringah
Okay.
Sea Eagles fan.
Wow.
Massive Manly fan, massive Sydney Swans fan. I love Chelsea Football Club. I love all sport. It's just,
So your favourite sport is gambling?
yeah, let's go there. Yeah, let's go gambling on sport. Yeah, we like that. But
Okay.
responsibly, obviously.
Responsibly.
Yes, and we don't gamble what you can't afford.
Right.
And it's either the condiment that week or the gambling. You have to pick it.
You have to pick a condiment or gambling. It's
On
good.
a
I hope
weekly
you make the right choice.
Oh, every week.
All right. Well, what is your favourite place in the world?
At the moment, it's the Gold Coast. I
Yeah.
really love living here, and it's I walk on Burleigh Beach every morning, and you look at that place and go, where else would you want to be? I love the States. I love doing trips to the US and stuff like that. But I'm going to end up on an island, and it's probably going to be Hamilton Island.
Okay,
I wanna
Hamilton.
live there.
Not Epstein.
No, definitely not Epstein. Yeah. No Diddy either. But yeah, no, just somewhere like that. I can see myself living on an island at some stage
I
and
love it.
just chilling. I think that's the end goal. Before I'm 100, obviously, because that's how long I've got
Yeah.
to go.
Go to one of those, what are they called? The blue areas, where you can live longer. Places in Asia and
What's
stuff.
the
They're called-
blue area?
So it's where a lot of people live to a very old age. You've heard
Okay.
about these spots?
No, I haven't.
What?
I'm intrigued.
Okay. We're gonna
Where are we moving
let's,
to?
let's not go too far into this. I
No,
feel
we
like
won't.
if you're
That's
interested in
fine.
learning, we can actually do another
I
episode
would
on
love
this
to do
one.
that. On the blue.
Yeah, I think it's called blue areas, and they are places, where people live to very, very old ages. So they've studied these areas to try and find out what it is about them that helps these people live long. And it's usually, there's a few in Asia.
Yep.
So could have something to do with like the temperature and how it is, comfortable temperature, but also the food they're eating. So if they're eating a lot of, oily fish,
Yes.
stuff like that.
Protein,
So,
all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Italy's the same. Like
Yeah.
they longevity in Italy because they drink wine from an early age.
Yeah, I don't think that's it.
That could be it.
Drink responsibly.
I love it. They interviewed a 104-year-old lady in England. They said, how did you last this long? And she says, I drink whiskey every day.
Get drunk.
Pickle yourself from the inside out.
think so.
There's a fact we could look at. Can you pickle yourself from the inside out?
This is what's
and
so
live
great
forever?
about the Dumb AF podcast.
What's
It
the
just
best?
goes left, right, goes
Never down the
everywhere,
middle. I
never
love
to
that.
the spot we
Yes.
expect, which is cool. All right, final question, and it's
Okay.
a quick one.
Yes.
Go-to karaoke song.
Suspicious Minds by Elvis Presley.
Wow. That was
It
quick.
is, or K-San, one of those two.
K-San.
Yeah,
Oh,
a bit of cold
God, no.
I'm a massive Elvis fan, but I'm also a bogan in a non-bogan persona.
Okay, that's cool. All right. We're going to have to go to karaoke now for sure. Okay, let's get into it. The dumb as fact of the day comes from Brett McCallum.
That's me.
What is it?
Nature versus nurture doesn't make a difference.
Oh.
And the reason I asked this question is I wrote a book, right? And my book was called Kids Aren't Born Assholes, They're Taught to Become Assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And what it was all about was the fact, is it nature or is it nurture? And how does that actually affect people? And how does that actually affect you raising children?
Yeah. And what did you find out? Is nurture more important than nature?
Yes,
I
100%.
see.
It's the parents' fault 100%.
That's
my opinion. Maybe not factual.
That's your opinion.
Maybe not factual, but it's my opinion.
Did you do some research or study for this book?
I spoke to 2-3 people. No.
Yeah, cool.
No, we actually did. We did a lot of study. We spoke to a lot of different people and we got their stories.
Yeah.
So there's like different things and different topics that we go through. And I think one of them talks about, okay, I'm driving down the road, I pull over, I grab a hooker and I grab an 8-ball of Coke and then I go and snort it off her ass.
Mm.
Welcome to Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
That's the reason we did it, right? And if you look at it, like a kid from the age of 12 is playing a video game.
Yep.
Yeah. 18 plus video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whose fault's that?
Well, yeah, the parents, I suppose, unless they're at their friend's house, but then it's the friend's parents' fault.
100%.
Oh, I see what's
That's
going
what we're
on.
talking about.
Yeah.
Little kids
Okay.
running around in cafes and upsetting people, and the fact that like a waiter accidentally knocks over and burns a kid with a coffee. Whose fault's that?
Yeah. Yeah, the parents probably, right?
Well, because keep your kid next to you.
Keep your kid next to you. But then, I don't know, there's kids with, learning disabilities and
is.
stuff like that
Yeah.
that might be a little bit more difficult to control, then in which case nature would be more important than nurture, wouldn't
Ooh,
it?
potentially.
But I'm going to also have to agree with you.
We like that.
Yeah.
It
I'm
doesn't
not
happen
gonna,
very often, so that's great.
I usually like to sit on the other side, but no, I do really believe that nurture is where it's at. You got to nurture your kids and you got to be around in an environment where you're happy and you feel free to be yourself, and that's going to make a big, well, unless yourself is a shit person.
Yeah. But you've got to give it, you've hit the nail on the head there, you've got to give a shit.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You have a kid, you bring this kid into the world, you've got to give a shit about that kid. So the best you want, and I know 99.9% of people want the best for their kids.
Of course. Yeah.
But the thing is, you have to actually be a parent.
Right. Yeah.
That's the biggest difference to me. So hence why that nurturing piece, nature's a big piece of it, don't get me wrong. But whoever, for instance, invented the 8th place trophy needs a bullet in the head. Because
well, in terms of participation,
100%.
Yeah, it's a bad thing.
Oh, you got to win, you got to lose. Like that's all about nurturing, right? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's ugly.
Yeah.
But you have to learn the difference. Whereas people of today will sit around and go, I deserve that. You don't deserve shit, sunshine. Go and work for it.
Yeah, you're not special.
100%.
No one's special.
Why do you
Everyone's
deserve it
special,
more
but
than
not
me?
Yeah, exactly.
Like those sort of things. And you can see it, like I'm a massive fan of politics, right? You see it in the US now. There's all these people, they overwhelmingly voted for Trump. Yeah?
Yeah.
But now there's all these people going, well, he's made the changes he said he was going to make. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank God.
Surprise, surprise. But it's exactly the same with parenting. If you parent your kid, give them the best environment they can possibly be, that you can possibly. And there's lots of homeless people, there's lots of that sort of stuff. So different parts of nature, but you can still nurture.
That's true.
It doesn't
Very
matter
true.
where you are.
It's very true.
Give a fuck about people and about your kids. That's my opinion.
I love that.
Thank
That's
you.
beautiful. What a beautiful way to end the intro. Shall I go away and do a little bit of research now?
Well, I think we should.
Well, I'm going to
Because
have
once
to.
again, that was my opinion. Let's get some facts.
Let's do it. Dumbest facts.
You good?
Yeah, let's do it.
Just wait, we get ready.
Just warming up, getting ready.
Getting ready.
Okay. Now, before we start with the research side of things, I've got some kind of sad news for
Sad?
you, Brett. Yeah. So I know it was your birthday.
It was. Thank you very much.
Just recently.
That's not sad.
And I know you love condiments.
I do.
Right?
Big fan.
So I went over to Woolies
Yes.
to get you my favourite condiment.
What is your favourite condiment?
It is the chili mayonnaise.
Chili mayonnaise.
Chili mayonnaise from Rolled. They make this incredible chili mayonnaise.
I've never tried it.
Ever been to Rolled before?
Yeah,
You know, the place, the
little-
Vietnamese.
Yeah, Vietnamese rolls.
Yeah, have you ever had their chili mayo sauce?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God.
And you can buy it at Woolies.
You can, but it is a hot commodity.
Okay.
So you can hardly ever find it. And considering we're in the middle of an apocalypse, as it would seem.
Good point.
On the Gold
Good point.
Coast.
There's nothing on the shelves.
Yes, literally. So we're about to go into a cyclone.
Yeah. Like sound effects.
And, you know, like it was in COVID, everyone is panicking and
buying toilet paper.
buying toilet paper.
And chili mayonnaise.
Chili mayonnaise and eggs. There's
They
not
go
an egg
together.
anywhere. So literally went to Woolworths, two Woolworths, one Aldi and a Coles.
All
And
for me for a condiment.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful.
well, look, also for the bread that
Oh.
took a long time to find.
You don't need to say that. Was good. It was really nice up until it. Have you tried sriracha mayonnaise made by Kewpie?
I have.
Oh, it's hot as shit.
It's spicy.
Very spicy. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it.
So don't worry, okay? The chili mayo
gonna get
is
there.
in the post. We will get it.
I really appreciate that.
But not today.
Not
Sorry
today.
to say
but that's
that.
okay. Because we've got a cyclone coming and it's okay.
Yeah.
Everything's okay.
Yeah, exactly. So I wanted to ask you, why do you like condiments so much? Did you eat a lot of condiments as a child?
No, I never had tomato sauce.
Ah.
But no, condiment is two things. One is, to me, it brings everything together.
Yeah.
So it brings a meal together. And
Right.
the reason I use the analogy so much is that, like, it's the bit that brings stuff together. So,
And that's what you are.
and that's what I am. I'm
I
a
see.
condiment. No.
You are a condiment.
But what I like is that sort of is that whole sort of bringing things together. But at the same time, I really, really like food.
Do you think maybe though it had something to do?
fair.
It had something to do with the fact that you didn't have as much
More than
sauce as a
likely.
kid,
Yes.
and so now that you're an adult, you're like, give
I
me
can
that
pick
sauce.
what I want.
Yeah.
But also, I'm a little bit older, so there wasn't that many options back then.
Oh, now there's
You would have had to make them yourself.
Million.
Now there's millions. There's like a whole row. A whole
That's true. So perhaps the way you were nurtured
yes.
then affected the way that you love condiments today.
Or was it the nature that I lived in?
Ah,
'Cause
well,
back
is
then-
it in your genes? Are your parents big condiment fans?
No, not at all.
Okay, well there you go.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
So the beauty of this discussion
Yes.
of nature versus nurture is the true question is what makes us who we are.
Okay.
So are we a product of our genes
Yes.
and DNA?
Yes.
That's nature. Or does our environment, experiences and upbringing shape us into who we are?
That's nurture.
Exactly.
There we go.
Well done.
Look at me.
So this has real world implications across so many different things, like your psychology, your personality.
Yep.
You know, are we born introverts or extroverts, or do we become them? Would you describe yourself as an extrovert? You seem extroverted to me.
I'm actually really introverted
Really?
with a shell of extroversion.
So you're like me. I'm an introverted extrovert.
100%.
I find it very intimidating meeting new people because
Yes.
you never know what's going to happen. But then once you get to know them, you're out there.
Whereas I'm really confident. I can stand on a stage in front of 10,000 people and not have an issue.
Mm-hmm.
I walk into a room at a networking event.
Oh, yeah.
I stand on my own.
It's scary.
People come to me. Because,
People come to
no,
you.
but the reason is because I don't go to them.
Right.
I'm not someone to walk up and interrupt your conversation to say, hi, I'm Brad.
Yeah.
I'm not, that's not me.
That's-
So I hate
find
going to those things.
It's so awkward.
So hence the introversion piece.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone sees me as an extrovert because I'm loud and I'm obnoxious.
Yeah.
And all those sort of things. But
So
that's
maybe
the big difference.
Maybe you're a people pleaser, right?
Potentially.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Potentially, yeah, 100%.
you don't want to interrupt people. You don't want to annoy people.
But I also don't give a fuck what people think.
Oh.
That's the other option to it.
Okay. Well,
But
that's
I've learned,
weird.
but I've learned that. That's a lesson I've learned later in life.
Yeah. Well, the lesson is you don't really know what people think about you, do you? You
Well,
only
a lot of people
know.
tell me.
Oh, they tell you. I was going to say.
No, you don't. But also,
You're
it doesn't
just
affect
assuming.
you. So therefore, I read a book called "The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck."
I love
Mark
it.
Moran. It's one
Yep,
of my favorites.
great book.
And the best bit about it, and the thing I took away from that book, you have one bucket of fucks to give you the rest of your life.
That's it.
Yeah, you've already given half of them away.
Mm.
So now sit there and who cares what they think?
Exactly.
It's awesome. I love it.
I love it too.
But is that nature or nurture? It's not. It's lessons later in life.
Ah, so it is nurture in a way.
It is. It could be.
It is
yes.
nurture. Well, how about stuff like intelligence or talent? Can anyone become a genius?
Yeah, there's the 10,000 hour rule.
What's
so
this?
the 10,000 hour rule is if you do something for 10,000 hours, you become an expert at it.
Ah.
So if you're a athlete,
Yes.
and let's say golf,
Uh-huh.
if you hit golf balls for 10,000 hours, therefore you will actually become an expert at hitting a golf ball, right? So if you, like people that study a lot, if they study for 10,000 hours, they become an expert in whatever that is. That's
Yeah.
the 10,000 hour rule.
Well-
However, I don't agree with it
Okay. Well, how not?
because
It's not enough.
what if I'm doing it wrong up front? Do I then
Well-
get expert at doing it wrong?
Another question is there a difference between an expert and a genius?
Yes.
Because some people, you know how some people they just know how to play an instrument.
100%.
You know, straight away. Or,
Yeah.
you know, they've got a
I got
picture
mates that-
memory.
Yeah, 100%.
You know?
My
So-
son, my youngest son, you put a golf club in his hand and he's got this perfect golf swing.
Oh.
He plays every now and then.
Oh.
My other son loves golf, practices all the time, does that, and he's got a shit golf swing.
Ouch.
But the thing is that the more he practices, the better he'll get.
Of course.
Whereas it's so frustrating. I got a mate that we grew up with that is exactly the same. Any sport you throw him at, he's really good at it.
Ah.
So he's like an expert.
Yeah, an expert.
Or a genius, that would be, as opposed to the expert.
Sports genius.
Yeah, but they do that and they fall in. But there is a DNA, for instance, is really interesting because DNA is hereditary.
Correct.
So if you have something in you that your parents or whoever had in them, that's hereditary.
Yeah.
So therefore, but you don't have to also go that way. So like alcoholism, obesity, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Are things that are in your DNA.
Well, if you think about it, like, you know, your build or whatever, you
Yeah.
know, your parents, you know, are into sport. Your dad might have played sport. You
Yep.
know, he's got a big build. You are born with a big build. You're brought up in that environment.
Indeed.
Therefore, you go in that direction, just
Yeah.
like Jared Wallace,
100%.
who we just had on the pod.
ex-host of this pod.
Exactly.
Apprentice host, sorry.
Just a guest.
Guest host.
giving
That's
it
the
a
one we're
crack.
after.
That's all.
But no, it's interesting because, like, you look at Jared's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, big man, played rugby league his
Right.
whole life. You look at Jared, big man, played rugby league. Like, it is.
It's a bit of both.
It's a bit of both.
Nurture and nature. But how about when it comes to criminals? You know, are criminals born bad, or have they had a rough childhood, or even mental health like anxiety and depression?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, Jeffrey Dahmer, exactly.
Like, where the
yeah,
fuck?
Exactly.
But you look at a lot of those guys, and they've come from either abused as kids. You look at the brothers, the Menendez brothers. They're a
Yes.
great example. Supposedly,
Allegedly, exactly.
that's the word, not supposedly. Allegedly, they were abused as kids, and the reason
Right.
they killed their parents is because their parents abused them. And if that's the case, good on them.
Well,
whatever
yeah.
way that works, right?
I kind of agree with that too.
But they're mentally fucked up because that's the way. So to me, that's
Well, it's so
nurture, or is it nature?
It is so interesting that you brought up Jeffrey Dahmer because I have a
Okay.
little bit more information about Jeffrey.
Oh.
How are we on the same page already?
This is just awesome.
How do we know this is going to end up at murder? But
But that's okay.
let's start. Let's start at the
happens once.
beginning. Let's start soft
Okay.
and we'll lead into the murder part, okay?
Okay.
So what you believe is that your upbringing and your experience shapes you more than your DNA. That's what
100%.
you've said.
Yes.
Okay. And that basically means that if you are raised right, you can do anything.
Yes.
Be anything.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting. Let's dive into the science of it all.
Science.
With a couple of case studies.
Okay. What have you got for me?
The first case study.
Yes.
This is a situation in which nature was more important than nurture. And it is the story of the Jim twins. Have you heard of Jim Lewis and Jim Springer?
No.
Okay, so
They've got different names. How are they twins?
so this is the craziest. This is such a weird story.
Okay.
I love it.
Yep.
So these twins were separated at birth.
Love these stories. Yep.
They were adopted into two different families. They grew up completely separate, had no idea that the other one existed. 39 years old, they meet. And it turns out that their lives are eerily similar, like very similar.
They've got the same first name for starters.
Yeah, to start, they were both named James by their adoptive families and shortened to Jim. So they were both called Jim. They both had childhood dogs named Toy. They're both called
Are they
them
identical
Toy.
twins too?
They're identical twins,
Okay, yep.
yes. They both married and divorced women called Linda. This is so wild.
Freaky.
And then they remarried women named Betty,
No.
both of them. Yeah. They both work in law enforcement. They both dealt with tension headaches. They bit their nails, both of them. They smoked the same brand of cigarettes, and they drank the same type of beer.
Wow.
Yeah. So all of those
And
things.
how far apart did they live?
Well,
Just
they
to
both
know.
lived in Ohio.
Okay, so they're both in the same state.
They were, yeah. But yeah, they just happened to have all these similarities. It's wild. So what this kind of suggests is that, you know,
But
doesn't matter.
similarities,
Yeah.
does that also mean that they had the same traits?
Well, they were similar in the way that they like moved or expressed things.
So that type of thing would be the same because you're twins, like,
Right.
and that happens. But the whole, like, their adoptive parents and his, so Jim A and Jim B, adoptive parents, they bring them up the same.
Well, there's not a huge amount of information about their adoptive families, but we do know that Jim Lewis was adopted by Jess and Lucille Lewis, which kind of sounds like maybe they were same-sex mums. Yeah.
Maybe, yes.
Yeah, but Jim Springer adopted by Ernest and Sarah Springer, so that is, you know, your average marriage.
Better than Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
That could have been
Maybe that was a
interesting.
part of it. And apparently they both actually had brothers named Larry as well.
That's just so fucked up, isn't it, really? That's amazing.
Yeah, but like it kind of suggests like, was it a big coincidence? Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they both had a brother named Larry, was obviously called that by their respective adopted parents.
There is a lot of coincidence
Big
across the board. The same as the
coincidence.
chick she marry
Exactly.
and that sort of thing. Like if they're all just happen to be the same name, it's all a bit weird.
Very weird. But I don't know. You can't deny there's a lot of similarities.
There is a lot of similarities, but they're twins.
They're twins. Exactly.
So from that point of view, they're going to have the same traits, all that sort of stuff, I believe.
And the tension headaches, obviously, as well.
That would be a twinny thing.
That would be a twin thing.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's have a look at our case study number
Number
two,
two.
when nature was more important.
Oh, okay.
And this is about the influencer of the London taxi driver test. Have you
Okay.
heard of this?
I have, yes.
You have?
I have.
Because you lived in London
I
for
did
a while,
for
didn't
10
you?
years.
Yeah, that's right. So you would know about this. So the knowledge of London,
Yes.
often referred to as the knowledge. How much do you know about this test?
I know that they have to do a test and they have to be able to get anywhere in London in a certain period of time without the use of a map.
Right. So they had to memorize, still,
Yes.
320 specific routes within 10 kilometres of Charing Cross.
Indeed.
A bunch of landmarks as well.
Yeah.
There's 7 different stages of the test. It's huge. And basically you have to pass this knowledge test to even be able to be a taxi driver
Indeed.
in London. So they all have to do this. 25,000 plus city streets that they have to memorize. And so they did this famous neuroscience like study on
Yep.
these particular London taxi drivers. They did MRI scans on their brain, and what they found is that these taxi drivers who had done this knowledge test and knew all this information had larger hippocampi, which is the part of the brain for navigation and memory, was larger than the average person.
Wow.
So
How I say it?
Hippocampi.
Hippocampi. Nice.
So this is crazy because their brains physically changed due to their training.
So it changed post-training?
Mm-hmm.
So did they do the scan where someone got scanned, then did the training, then pre-scanned?
Well, this is a very good question. I don't think so. So
I've just got a bigger hippocampi.
Yeah, they just compared it to other average people.
Interesting.
And the suggestion was that,
it grew.
It helped it grow like a muscle, you know.
Well, your brain is a big muscle anyway, isn't
Right,
it?
exactly.
That's amazing. Yeah, those guys are insane. What they know and where they can go and all that sort of stuff is ridiculous. And most of them are like just sort of blokes.
Yeah.
Like you don't get many London taxi drivers that you sit there and you're really smart, mate.
Yeah.
But they actually are.
I know. And then compare them to the Aussie taxi drivers. Much better.
Oh, so do
Over there, I mean,
why-
not here.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think that is nature as opposed to nurture?
No, that one's nurture.
Nurture. So why is that nurture?
because their brains changed due to their environment and what they were doing at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think that them being brought up in different ways would also have an effect on that? What's your personal opinion on that?
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. Like with this information, I think so far it's still leaning towards nurture being more important. But let's have a look at our final case study.
The final
one.
countdown.
And you know what's coming.
No, I don't. Oh, Jeff.
Jeff. How did you know that Jeff was going to come? Now, this is one case that proves that both nature and nurture play a very crucial role.
Okay, I'm
with
excited.
Jeffrey Dahmer. So you like true crime? Big fan?
I love true crime.
Okay,
and
me
the
too.
Jeffrey Dahmer series scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It was so well done.
It was.
It was really, really scary.
I loved it too. I'm obsessed. So obviously he's a very infamous serial killer. And this case for nature
Okay.
suggested that maybe he had brain issues
Yes.
and his genetics played a role. So he's a psychopath, right?
Okay. Oh, yes, he is.
So he showed signs of lack of remorse, manipulation, and need for control, which are, big traits in psychopathy.
Yep.
Some studies have actually suggested that there is a genetic component to psychopathy.
Wow.
Yeah. So some people are actually born
Psychopaths.
psychopaths
See,
or with a lack of empathy.
You could pick that.
Yeah.
Like at school and stuff when you're there and there's like that kid.
There's that kid.
That everyone's thinking he's going to shoot this school up.
Yeah.
There's always one though, isn't there? At least one.
Well, yeah, like it can be passed down from your parents. So I actually did a full episode on the Dumb AF about this.
Yes.
Serial killers don't watch true crime.
Okay.
So
and
you
what
can-
came out of that?
Well, you're more likely to watch true crime if you have more empathy.
Okay,
Because
that makes sense.
the reason we enjoy true crime so much is because you empathize with the victim, but you also want to learn more about the serial killer and get inside their head so
Yeah,
that you can
okay.
protect yourself from
Against it.
what might happen. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why if you love true crime, you're actually much less likely to be a serial
Keep
killer.
telling my wife I'm empathetic.
Let her listen
Let
to
me
this
watch it.
episode.
Go on then.
Trust me, that's
Yeah.
that's
That's
what it is.
amazing.
Go check out that episode and
yeah.
get it all listen to this one as
I
well.
will do for sure.
Now, some experts also said that Jeffrey had what's called antisocial personality disorder,
Okay.
which is kind of just it's like psychopathy.
Another word for
essentially.
psychopathy.
Kind of, yeah. And this has both a genetic and environmental component to
Okay.
it. So you could have both.
Yes.
Many speculated that Jeffrey had brain abnormalities, but they looked at the autopsy. Nothing. Guy was fine.
He was just a psychopath.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Just a psychopath. But many serial killers do have frontal lobe abnormalities.
Okay.
So that means they're more impulsive. They have that lack of empathy and they're more aggressive as well. So a lot of,
That makes
a lot
sense
of
for a serial killer.
serial killer will actually have
Yeah,
these things in their DNA. Now, the case for nurture, as you were saying, it played a very significant role because he had a very troubled childhood.
Yeah.
His parents were toxic. They had a bad relationship. His dad was never there. His mum had mental health issues. And there was all these like early warning signs, red flags when he was young.
Yes.
So he was cutting heads off animals to start decapitating animals. And he had this like obsession with bones. So he really liked bones. He used to collect them and take photos and weird stuff like this. So, yeah.
I'm sitting here in shock because, yes, that was all. It's mum and dad's fault that he liked bones.
Well,
Or do you think
possibly.
it's-
So,
do you think it's the other way? Do you think
so-
he's just fucked up?
well, you watched the show, right?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
So his dad would help him taxiderm
He would,
animals.
yeah.
Right? So his dad was kind of in that biz. Do
He
you know what I mean?
was, yeah.
And so that might have added to that interest.
Do you think dad was fucked up too? Not to
God,
the
I don't know.
extent.
I don't know him. I don't know him personally. I mean, he didn't kill anyone that we know of. So no, I don't. I
Okay.
don't. But maybe that bond that he had with his dad. He was doing it when they were doing these taxidermies and
yeah.
these kind of playing with dead animals, and it kind of, I don't know, it sparked something in him.
I find it very weird.
Yeah, super creepy.
So you're saying that's both nature and nurture,
Well,
which I agree with.
yeah, I think so. I would say more so nurture.
Yes.
He was also an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
right? So he had alcohol problems, which he developed later in life. So that's more nurture. His parents weren't alcoholics or anything like that. It didn't come through the DNA.
That we know of.
That we know of. Very true.
Because his mum was pretty fucked up.
That's true. She
And
had to
we
have
don't
the
know-
mental health issues.
But was it mental health issues or was it like alcoholism that then caused that stuff?
Well, I mean, it could be too.
And I think it's really interesting because if you look back and then look back and then look back, like sometimes these things skip a generation.
That's a good point.
So like if you and not debunking it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's sometimes like for instance, kids are fucked up in different ways. Like the mum had mental health issues, but we don't know if like that DNA trail actually goes down.
Well, in terms of like alcoholism, it's not exactly a trait that can be passed down
That's
in
DNA.
terms of your DNA.
Oh,
Do you know what
that's
I mean?
a big call. We should
Yeah.
do that on another one.
We should do
That'd
that.
be interesting. That would be
I think
interesting.
because it is more of a nurture thing, right? So if your parents are, if your mum's an alcoholic,
Mm-hmm.
right, and you do see her partaking in alcohol quite a lot, then you might end up being on that same track. Or if you had a troubled childhood because your parents were unstable, you could end up on that track as well. It's still nurture. It's not being passed down through your genes.
Interesting. Love to see the science behind that one.
And the other thing as to why this is more of a nurture thing is because, like, there was no intervention. Like, no one caught this guy. He did his first murder at 18.
How many do you do in total?
How many did he
Lots.
do? God, how many did he do?
Because at 18 he started the murders of humans.
Yeah, and he did it for 13 years.
13 years. Wow.
Yeah. Let me see.
And what but he'd started with the cutting the heads off animals like young. didn't
Yeah.
he? 'Cause
Yeah.
That's what Dad when he's taxidermy stuff.
Correct. So cruelty to animals is a surefire sign that you're going to kill someone later on. Jeffrey Dahmer killed 17 people minimum.
Over a 13-year period. Well, that they know
That
of.
they
That's
know
the key.
of. Exactly. So no one caught him. It just kept going.
It
you know?
amazes me how serial killers don't get
Yeah.
caught.
I know. Well, this is back in the 80s. It was a different
good
time,
point.
wasn't it?
No, not much DNA stuff and all that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. So you couldn't get away with it now. But I mean, it's interesting to think like could a different, childhood or different upbringing or different parents, would that have changed the course of his life?
Potentially.
Yeah, very potentially. Because what I think this proves is that both are crucial,
I agree.
right? I see how nurture can seem more important, but if he didn't have those biological things going on, the psychopathy,
Yep.
Issues with that, maybe he never would have kicked off into violence, and then he had a shitty life. So
Yes.
that pushed him further down the path.
Well, I think it's really critical to find out are you born with those things or do you get taught them?
What, psychopathy?
Yeah. Like psychopathy, is that what we say?
So he's psychopathy.
So are you born with psychopath?
Well, yeah.
Can't even say.
Well, they're saying that
So he's born with that.
It could be.
Okay.
You could be. What they're saying is it has a genetic component, so it's possible.
So it's possible you're born with that.
Yes.
Wow.
So,
We're pretty lucky we're perfect, aren't we? Really?
oh yeah.
That's-
Thank God for that. Dumbest facts. Nurture more important than nature. I don't know. I'm still kind of leaning towards it is in a way because it is very important how you're brought up, the way your parents treat you, the way you treat your children. It is very, very important. But nature, it'll kick you off on a certain path. So if you've got certain things that have been passed down, like mental health issues or psychopathy, then you could go down that path and it'll get fueled on by your nurture if you have a bad time, and then you will murder.
Jesus. That went down a dark alley. Okay, I'm 100% team nurture.
You're still team
I'm
nurture.
still team nurture. Goes back to how we started this whole process is that you're not born as an asshole, you're taught to become one. And the thing for me is, no matter what you're born with or whatever, and a big shout out to parents that have kids that have learning disabilities and all that sort of stuff, because there's very special people that look after those kids. But at the same time as how they're brought up, what the environment that they're brought up in, and what they're taught what is wrong and what is right. To me, that's why nurture is so much more important, is the fact of the way that you actually are brought up from a little baby. You learn all the way through. And if you're in an environment that's toxic or not good, then that's going to have a detrimental effect on you and you become a murderer.
Exactly.
We both come to the end conclusion.
So
of murder's what it's all
our
about.
conclusion is murder.
It's murder. That's it. It's all over.
If you want to give us a dumb as fact, give us some feedback, tell us you love us because we're the best. The Dumb AF podcast is our socials. You can check us out on Gmail if you want to send us an email, dumbasfacts@gmail.com. And our website is thedumbafpodcast.com.
And more importantly, if you want me back in this seat
Ooh.
to be another guest host or to pass my apprenticeship,
Ooh.
do the same thing that you just did then.
Just send me a message.
Just send a message.
Slide into our DMs.
Slide into the DMs and say, we want Brett back. Or we don't.
Or we
Both
don't.
ways. Let's do that. Either way.
Please text
But
me.
this has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed this. Thank you so much for letting me sit in the hot seat.
You're welcome.
And I love the fact that we pretty much just spoke about murder.
I know.
It's one of the best. Thanks heaps for that. I much appreciate it.
See you guys.
Dumb AF, that stands for dumb as facts. Yes, that's right, dumb AF. It stands for dumb as facts, not that other thing that you were potentially thinking of. No, it's dumb as facts.